Hi friends, so I am here for another Tea Time Tuesday, and today is a special one because, well, I'm all dressed in red for good reason, and I have a little friend behind me for good reason. This week is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week, and that is why I'm wearing red I'm wearing red for my warrior, and I'm going to talk about her. This is my warrior. I'm going to talk about her today and spread a little CHD awareness for you guys. So what's in my cup today? I've got the Mighty Leaf Tea Ginger Twist. It's got lemongrass, tropical fruits, mint, and a touch of ginger. And it's caffeine free herbal tea. Yummy yum. So that's what I've got in my cup today. It's hot. Oh. Oh. It's really hot. Okay. I'm gonna set that aside for now and let's get into it. So for this Tea Time Tuesday, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm gonna be talking about something that I want to talk about, and that is congenital heart defects. This is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week, and so I'm going to do my part and I'm going to spread awareness to you guys. I'm also going to be talking about how CHDs affect me and where I stand with it and what's my part in it. So CHDs, congenital heart defects, are something that you are born with, something that you develop in utero, in your mama's belly. And as a parent of a CHD kiddo, I think it's pretty important to talk about our kids and tell their story, and because a lot of people just are not aware of what it is. And 1 in every 100 babies, it's actually statistically more than that, but that's just the general. Here it is, 1 in 100 babies are born with congenital heart defects. It's actually more than that because a lot of babies are born around the world, and they go home from the hospital and nobody knows that they have a hole in their heart, or they only have half a heart. Our hospitals are different around the world. Not all babies are tested for it, unfortunately. And in America, fortunately, we have become more aware of it and become more proactive about it, and we test each and every baby when they're born. So, and it wasn't that way a few years ago. More and more states are actually carrying out a law now that it has to be done. So basically it's just a little like monitor that they put on your baby's foot or your baby's toe, and they check baby's oxygen levels. Basically that's what they're doing, that's what they're checking for. But going into how I am affected personally by congenital heart defects, in December of 2011 I found out I was pregnant with my first baby, and about 12 weeks into that I had my first ultrasound, and they found some things with the baby that was kind of alarming, and not kind of, but alarming. Basically baby had fluid around its neck, around a tummy, torso, around the head. So there's basically fluid all the way around baby's body. So when I was 20 weeks, we had a fetal echocardiogram, and the cardiologist basically told us that our baby only had half of a heart. And also at the same exact appointment, they also told us this baby is also a girl. So it was kind of like a bittersweet kind of appointment. We found out that we were having a girl, and we also found out that she would be born with only half of a heart. Her defect, her certain defect, is called hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which basically means that the left side of her heart is severely underdeveloped. So it could not pump efficiently, it could not work efficiently like it's supposed to. So doctors told us that she would have to have 3 open heart surgeries within the first 4 years of her life. The first being that first week of life. Gracie was born August 2nd, 2012, 37 weeks on the dot, and I went through 36 hours of labor, and then followed by an emergency C-section because she was so in distress that they're really concerned about her and me. So she came out. I don't remember hearing anything, and they said she's out, she's here. They rushed her into the next room next to us, and Sean, my husband, followed them. Then a few minutes later, they came out with her, and she was all bundled up already and cleaned off and had a hat over her head. And so they basically came and brought her next to my head. I was strapped down and they brought her next to my face, and I saw her, and she was beautiful, and she looked at her eyes were open, and she was looking at me, and she had the most beautiful blue eyes. And I got to kiss her on the head. And that was it. I saw that she had a little bit of hair under her hat, and then they whisked her away. And I went into recovery for a couple hours because I was not allowed to go see her and be with her until I could start feeling my legs again, basically. After those few hours of recovery, they wheeled me over all the way to where she was in the baby NICU, and she was starting to get hooked up to things. I was still laying in my little bed, and they gave me Gracie to hold for just like, I think it was like 2 minutes. And then they said, okay, we need to hook her up now. We need to give her her meds and all that. We need to hook her up to stuff to keep her stable. And so that was my first day with her, and she had her first open heart surgery at 6 days old. And she came out on this huge giant machine called ECMO. And basically what that giant machine did was pump her heart for her. Was to bring the blood in and out and down, and it was basically doing all the hard work for her that her heart, like our heart, would have been doing for any other baby's heart. So it was doing all the hard work for her so that she could rest and recover. And she was on that huge giant thing for 7 days. So they slowly weaned her off, and 7 days later she was off of it, and her chest was still open during that time, and she went back into the operating room and they closed her up. And then it was time to recover. I spent every single day with her. That became home. That was home. And after that month, she was still on a ventilator to help her breathe. It was going up through her nose and down to help her breathe, basically, because when she was in surgery and during that time she was on ECMO, she needed that assistance. A month after being on that, they started doing CPAP trials to get her weaned off of that, and she was not having it. She was just too heavily relying on that, and she would just get so nervous when they would try to get her off of it. And so we had to make the decision to get her on tracheostomy, and so we had that surgery, and so she had the tube right in her trach here, and so we had to learn how to take care of that. But once she had that tracheostomy, I was finally able to hold her again. So that for that first full month after her surgery, I was not, nobody was able to hold her. in their arms. We were able to, you know, hold her hand and stroke her head and change her diaper and all that kind of stuff, but that was it. We could not hold her. And I missed out on so much cuddle time with her that I needed so badly, that she needed so badly from her mom. And so once she got that tracheostomy, oh my goodness, we had so much cuddle time. We had a lot to catch up on. And so basically, every minute that I was there, the whole day, she was in my arms, or she was being cared for, you know, all the other stuff. But anytime that the nurses weren't bugging her, the doctors weren't bugging her, she was in my arms, in a rocking chair. I would sing to her, and I would tell her stories, and I would just love her up. I just miss her so much. She was only here for 82 days. And on that last day, I got a phone call from her nurse saying that Gracie wasn't doing so well. Her heart rate was kind of diving slowly, and so I rushed over to the hospital and got there, and they had been doing compressions on the little tiny body of hers for an hour. And the doctors told me, we are trying everything. We don't know what happened. She has had the best couple of weeks she's ever had, and we don't know what happened. And I knew exactly what that meant. And I sat outside her room, glaring in her window at them pressing on this little tiny chest. And all I could do was sit there and watch and just pray, say, God, I'm not ready. Please don't let this be it. I'm not ready. The day before that was the best day with her. My husband was there with me. It was a Monday, and he had Mondays off, so he would always go down to the hospital with me on Mondays, and we would spend the whole day playing with Gracie. And she just had the best day. She was bright-eyed. She had energy. It seemed like she could have gone, go all day. And for some reason that night, I felt this tug, this pull, that I couldn't leave her that night. I couldn't, for some reason. She just had to have this amazing day, and it just could not end. I did not want it to end. But Sean and I had to go home eventually, and we went home really, really late that night. You know, now I know why I felt that tug, and I should have listened to it. Because maybe I could have done something. Maybe I could have noticed that something was wrong with her that night. Maybe. I don't know. After she had passed, the nurses came out and they said, we're gonna clean her up. We're gonna wrap her in a bunch of blankies, and you can spend time with her. So they disconnected all of her wires, and all of her medications were shut off. Everything was off. And for the first time since the day she was born, she was free. She was free of those wires. And I was free to walk around with her, to dance with her, and you better bet that I did dance around that room with her. For those of you that have not lost a child, it might be hard to even grasp what it might feel like to hold a dead baby in your arms that was once here, that was once living. And now they're just taken from you. It's the worst thing in the world. I had to continue to take care of her in some way, some fashion. I had to continue to take care of her somehow. I had to do something. And so I prayed about it. I prayed, God, what now? What do I do without her? What can I do? So in those weeks, all I could do, all I wanted to do was be in the kitchen, baking, making cakes and cupcakes and cookies and everything. And it was the strangest thing, but that was the only place that I was happy, was in the kitchen. And I was making all these cakes and cupcakes and stuff and having nobody to give them to. One day I woke up and had this thought, this idea in my head that just popped up, and I imagined myself making these cakes and making them for kids. They were all designed for kids, and I was just giving them away. I was just donating them to kids like Gracie that were born with congenital heart defects. They had heart defects, broken hearts. And I knew that that was my answered prayer. That was God. That was his prompting on me. That was him telling me what to do. I started the nonprofit Cakes from Grace, and it's blown up, and I'm so happy that I had that prayer, that I had that prompting, that yearning to just do something, to just, you know, do that. And just like I take care of my daughter Amelia, this Cakes from Grace, my nonprofit, giving away these cakes, that is my way of taking care of Gracie. Because I had always imagined making hundreds and thousands of cakes for every occasion just for Gracie. I had always imagined that. And in a way, I still kind of am. Because these kids, they've got broken hearts just like Gracie did. And if I can bring a little cheer, a little happiness, a little bit of Gracie into these kids' hearts, then I guess I'm doing something good. And it makes me feel good because it makes me think of her. It lets me share her story. It lets me make videos like this and tell the world about her and how amazing she is and what she's done for me, for our family. Another little kiddo that is in the hospital right now. He's been there since November, and he's waiting for a heart transplant. It's a hard situation. It's really hard seeing his mom and dad go through such heartache, such emotions, and missing their child's smile. I'm just so sad and heartbroken for them. And I want you all to pray for this little warrior. made several cakes for him in the past, and I've fallen in love with him every time I see him, every time. Just ask you guys to just stop what you're doing right now and just say a prayer for him. That. Pray for a miracle, that's what they need. Because it's really bad. Honestly, it's a bad situation. And it's not looking good. So, please pray for that miracle for little Colton. That's my Tea Time Tuesday, you guys. It's more like a Gracie Tuesday. It's my Gracie Tuesday. So wear your red this week, guys. Support congenital heart defects and spread some awareness, spread some love and cheer, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great week. Bye.